Hello, welcome to the Loney Show. I'm your host, John Maloney, and in this episode, I've not brought on regulars because it's very early in the morning, and well, you get the gist. But as for our guest, he's from Nigeria. He owns a branding and content marketing agency, as well as a lead designer and strategist at the agency. And we'll talk about more of that because, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Gideon Tamoluju.
Hi guys, my name is Gideon, and yes, just like Jamie said, I'm the co-founder, basically a founder, to be honest, of branding and content marketing agency based in Nigeria, and we basically help founders go to market and stand out amongst the competition through creative interventions. It's nice to meet you. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, great. Now, tell me more about the agency and what is the operations behind it.
Okay, so let me just give you like a backstory of why I started Pixis in essence. So I think last year I got a job with this company, and I was actually a founding designer at the company, and I helped them work on branding, marketing campaigns, and everything. And I just felt like lots of agencies that we hired, right? Well, some of them were good. Some of them, were sort of I would say not they were not giving us the best, and pattern, right? That agencies take on clients and they end up giving the work to interns, and then the output doesn't really, match what they say they would do. So I felt like there was a gap that needed to be filled, and I decided that okay, I might take on this journey and start my own agency. So yeah, that's basically how I started Pixis. And what we currently do is we notice a gap too in the tech industry, especially in Nigeria, right? There are so many founders out there who has the grit to start a business, but they end up being clueless of how to go to market. Starting a business is very very hard and difficult, right? So this is where we come in as brand partners to help these founders enter the market and position themselves as the authority in their niche, and of course get sales profitability.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And what do you like about running this agency?
I think majorly it's going to be the learning curve. Every new client is a new discovery. Every new discovery, not today are the same. You get to work on maybe a business in the real estate space today, and maybe next month you get to work on clients in the fashion industry. It's quite thrilling to working on different aspects of of design, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what have been the highs and lows of operating the agency?
I'll say it's talent, and I think it's quite hard to getting people who believe in your vision. It's bootstrapped. I didn't have any other investors and everything, and I started to start with like two of my friends, but they were working full time and they were not ready to commit to the agency full time. Like I did, I quit my job for it. And that was like my issue. So I had to carry all the burden on my head till we got in, some clients that were actually paying us. And so I would say also delegating task was very hard for me at the beginning because I didn't know what to do because I've never actually been in this position before, right? And I never really worked in an agency before, so I didn't really know much about operations. But I did like my research on YouTube, and I was able to get this task management system called Trello. So Trello helps me break down my task into very simple checklists. So that way I can hire any freelancer, I can hire anybody and give them this simple task to work with. And it seems seamless, and it's going to be easy for anybody, even an amateur, to actually take on that task. So I would say first of all was the talent and actually getting more clients into the door. That was like one of the hardest things I faced.
Great.
Yeah.
And what was life for you growing up?
Life for me growing up.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So interestingly, right, when I was in primary school, and I used to write a lot. I used to write like story tales because I was fascinated by African fiction. And funny thing is, my classmates always loved to read my books, and I would say I've always had this entrepreneurial mind ever since. I literally even got some of my friends to help with the writing. Of course, I didn't go too well. I was probably too immature to run a business then. And then in secondary school, that's after primary school, secondary school, I started doing like these comics. I was bad at drawing, so what I did was I go to the newspapers, I go to the magazines, and then I got this tracing paper. It's this blue colored tracing paper where you could trace like cars, trace. So I did like comics on very fast cars, and it was like really so looking so photorealistic. Actually, I loved photorealistic renders. So that's how I started drawing like comics and wrote the storyline too. And then my friends actually started stealing my books from my locker. Right, they loved the comics. And then after that, I got into university. Apparently, I've always started running from design and basically storytelling because I just didn't see myself in it at that point, right? But looking back, it seems like everything was all falling in place for me to be where I currently am, right? Helping brands tell their stories to the world. So I studied architecture in school, and this was where I learned more about design principles, design for user, understanding empathy, and basically most of what I use today in my agency.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to other countries recently, or like any travel in general?
Yes, I have been to West Africa, basically. Ghana. I've been to Benin, been to Togo, but not outside Africa yet.
Okay. And have you ever thought about traveling outside of Africa at some point?
Yes, actually, but I feel like it's going to be like living a lot behind, right? Because I have like my whole family, I have like my whole. I'm not the social type. I would definitely not make friends if I probably travel out, to probably settle or stay there for a while, right? But if it's a vacation, of course, yes, I've probably thought of it once or twice. But I feel like maybe I'm not ready for it yet. I still need to walk up my ass to get there yet.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And besides working for an agency that revolves around branding and content marketing, do you ever make any social media content yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of content do you make?
Sorry, I don't really understand the question. Can you go back again?
So outside working for the agency for branding and content marketing, do you
Yeah.
make social media content yourself?
Yes. I was a graphic designer, so I was always designing content for social media, for programmatic ads, and offline campaigns, basically. So yes, I did create social media content.
Hmm, okay, nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite season?
Season, and I would say, well, Africa, we have like very different kind of season from you guys out there. So we basically only have the wet and dry season here. That's the rainy season and the Harmattan season. So the Harmattan season is really dry, but it's really cold. So I think I prefer that to like the hot weather here on a regular day.
Oh yes, yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, actually, I don't mind what season is, but I kind of like midsummer and also midwinter for the temperatures themselves as well as the I don't know. It's just I like this. I like summer for the hot weather as well as the flowers are blooming and the trees are growing, and I also like the winter for like the snowy weather. But yeah, one of the two would be
Oh,
just fine.
nice. I see
Yeah.
a lot of white people coming to Nigeria just for the hot weather, and I'm like, yo, why you guys coming to? We don't even like the hot weather, man.
Okay. If you could
Yeah.
travel back, if you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to be in?
Sorry, I didn't get a question.
If you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to be in?
Um, I would, to be honest, I don't think I want to travel back in time. Just to live in, because I think right now we have everything at our disposal, right? I mean, running a business is quite easy now because of the internet. Imagine in the 80s or 70s, right? You had to be in person to close a deal. Imagine right now we can close deals over the call, close multi-million-dollar deals over the call, like just what we're currently doing right now. I mean, as compared to the 60s, where I'll have to probably travel to your country to do this podcast. If it was like that, but maybe I would travel back in time to the classical times when Mozart and all of these guys were composing their music, and maybe to Van Gogh's time to also see, just to pick his brain on one or two things, right? Because that guy was a crazy guy in his art and all. And also maybe I'd like to see Tesla. Nikola Tesla before he died, just to pick his brain too. But yeah, I'm actually fine the decade we have currently.
Okay, great, great. If you had to bury a treasure chest, where would you hide it?
Yeah. So I would say, to be honest, maybe in my yard or something.
Okay,
Definitely
interesting
not far away
choice.
from where I live.
Okay, cool, cool. If you had to get rid of a holiday, which would you get rid of?
Um, None. I love my holidays, to be honest.
That's nice.
But I think as a full-time owner of my agency, I don't really fancy weekends anymore. So I don't really get the thrill of TGIF. Like thank God it's Friday. The weekends just feel like it's just a regular weekday for me to work. So I really don't fancy all the days anymore because every day is like a free day for me, but I still have to work for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where was the most beautiful place you have been?
I would say Lagos here, Victoria Island, or Eco Atlantic.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And what has been the highlight of your week?
Okay, this week, right, I basically had a mood board and Starscape call with one of my clients where we're trying to align on design direction because we passed this strategist phase where we're talking more about their brand. So now to doing more actionable insights into their brand and designing for their brand. So I think that's majorly the highlight of my week. Yeah, basically.
Ah,
And yes,
nice.
I got myself a new laptop just to make my workflow faster. So that's like my highlight of my week.
Ah, great, great.
Yeah.
Do you have any pets?
Any what?
Do you have any pets?
Pets? No. Actually planned to have, like, if I were to buy a pet, I would probably say a poodle, or maybe not a cat. Maybe I wouldn't buy a cat. Maybe if someone gave me, maybe I would take it. But I think the African mentality around cats is that cats are devilish, or they are of the underworld. It's just a weird mentality, right? I think when I was in school, my flatmate, she was a girl. She had cats, and I didn't like them at first, but I sort of got used to them. I was actually playing with them one, and I think one of them actually fell sick, and that was like my favorite. And she also liked me. And apparently, the sad story about it, she died in front of my door. I think she was just getting to my room the previous night, but I think I just didn't hear. So she just died in front of my room. That was like a weird story, but I do love cats and poodles.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I- If you opened a business, what kind of business would it be?
I would probably say tech hub. Right now, I'm not so into business anymore because starting the business is really hard. Like my first 4 months of starting my agency was the toughest. Like it was really tough for me. So I don't know if I have that patience because running a business requires patience, requires a lot of funding, requires a lot of technical know-hows and everything. So, but yeah, if I were to run a business currently, I'll probably say tech hub where other freelancers, tech enthusiasts, everybody can come together, commune, and work together.
Okay. What is the best way to stay motivated?
So I would first of all say it's by keeping the right connections around you. So if you wake up in the morning and you're seeing your friends all hard at work, right? You definitely cannot stay lazy, right? It's about surrounding yourself people who are positive and also hardworking, and also staying motivated is about knowing your goal. So I like to sort of plan my day, but sometimes or most times I usually don't go according to the plan because I like some spontaneity in my day, right? I don't really like everything all planned out, right? I like to take things as they come and work towards that. But yeah, still motivated is about having the right mindset, also having friends who are hardworking around you, and yeah, knowing your goal for maybe the next quarter or next 1 year, basically keeps you
Great.
motivated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
Um, how to take risk, to be honest, because I feel like my life has always been about taking risks, and from quitting my job to leaving the country at the age of 16 to go to university, right? It's in a different man's land, a different country, just And like starting a new life. It's all about, always been taking risk and trying things that people said I couldn't do. So I think that's my life basically, risk, all about risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you rather be really hot or really cold?
I would say really cold. Yeah, really cold.
Yeah.
Because then I can probably make myself hot by um, doing exercises, I guess. But if I'm really hot, there's no way, almost no way I can make myself feel warm, right?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What has been the most stressful situation you've been in?
Um, I would say managing operations and managing teams. So when I started, right, I actually made the mistake of hiring people. I actually hired my friends, a friend of mine, which I think was a wrong move. You literally don't need to hire your friends when you're starting out, because there will be that sentiment, there will be there'll be like boundaries that might be broken, right? And that's what you don't want at the beginning of your business, right? You don't want that kind of thing. So I think I had my own like tasks for the day, but it felt like every morning I had to wake up and do everybody's work. I had to assign tasks to them, follow up and asking them, okay, do you have issues? Do you need help? Do you need help here? So that was like a very tough time for me, because managing my own task was managing the people under me. It was really hard for me at the beginning. So yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Are you more of an early bird or a night owl?
At this point, I do not know, because I think in school, when I was in university, I was a night owl. We had like presentations every week, and of course, we had to stay up all night to work. But I think sort of when I finished school, I prefer working in the morning, maybe early in the morning, like 7 a.m., maybe midday. So I start my day late, so something around maybe 10:30 or 10 a.m. Then I probably close off around 5. Sometimes I still work, just depends on the workload on me. Sometimes I also end up in meetings all day, which actually pushes my work down to the evening. So to be honest, I have around the clock, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is something you've learned this week?
What I've learned this week is always follow your gut feeling. And that's the mistake I always make. I get gut feelings, and I sometimes I wouldn't do this. Then I end up doing the opposite, and I end up regretting it. And also, is to be grateful for where you've come from. So I think just recently I was feeling undeserved of some things that happened to me recently, and then I started to journal. I started to look back at what has happened to me this whole year. From the client calls that got declined, proposals that didn't get approved, and everything. So I was like, okay, yeah, I've come a long way in my journey, right? This is no time to look back and be sad or anything, but it's also look back and reflect and see, okay, where I've come from and where I'm also going, right? So it's good to be grateful for every little thing that comes your way. So yeah, that's one thing I've learned this week, basically.
Great. What's your
Yeah.
favorite life hack?
Um, I'm not sure I have one. I like to figure
Okay.
things out as they go.
Okay. That's fine.
Well, okay, I'll say life hack basically. So before you probably start a business, right? I think you should get a mentor, and that was the mistake I made starting out. I did not get a mentor, and I lost my way at the point where I'm sort of back on track now. So yeah, getting
Uh,
somebody and getting advice from people who has done that part before you. That's a good life hack.
Okay. Yeah. I do say that's a great life hack.
Yeah, it is.
What was the last book you've read?
The last book I read. I'm not a fan of books.
Ah,
I don't read
okay.
books. So I
All right.
read I read articles instead. So Medium articles. I read articles on the future. I read articles, several articles online. To be honest, not necessarily books. I'm not a fan of books. I rather listen to podcasts or read or watch YouTube videos all day than read a book.
Okay. That's great.
I'm weird,
If
right?
it's all right. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
Um, Very beautiful, to be honest. And I would say a lot of moving parts, because I think a lot. In fact, I overthink sometimes, and I always imagine a beautiful place, a very beautiful outcome or scenario. So before I design, right, I already sort of have like a painting of the picture in my mind. and then it's just left for me to put it out there. So I would say, yeah.
Nice. What bad habits do you want to get rid of?
Overthinking and probably sometimes self-sabotage, thinking I'm undeserved of something. Yeah, self-guilt basically. It's a bad habit, to be honest.
Yep, absolutely. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
So since years from now, I should have probably won the Forbes 30 under 30 awards, maybe and maybe a few international awards with in design or branding. Getting more recognized for my work and probably helping other creatives start up their own journey like I did, especially as a very young founder with less experience, and also consulting for businesses such as unicorns. So unicorns are businesses that are valued at over $1 billion. So yeah, I think that's where I see myself in the next few years for now.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
If you can get anything you wanted for free from one store for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So I would say gadgets. I literally don't have an exact gadget I would love to get, but like gadgets, I love gadgets. I love latest gadgets. I would love to get it. So it could be the latest MacBook, latest maybe not latest iPhone. I'm not a fan of iPhones. Maybe latest iPad Pro. For my design and everything. So yeah, gadgets basically.
Great. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
Speak all languages. Why would I talk to animals?
Oh yeah, fair point.
I mean, I'll look crazy in front of everybody, right? So,
Yeah,
nah, I'd
yeah,
rather speak all languages.
yep, yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
What is something people are always surprised to learn about you?
So people always think I'm Igbo or Delta. So Igbo or Delta is basically a tribe in Nigeria. So people think I'm either of this, but I'm actually Yoruba. Do you know the language Yoruba?
Okay, nice.
And I think yeah, people see me as this. I think people tend to underrate me when they first see me. They be like, okay, who is this guy? Until they actually start hearing me talk about the things I'm passionate about and more. And I'm also an introvert too, so people always look down on me at first sight, but until they get close to me, then realize, okay, this guy is cool and he cares and actually quite knowledgeable at some topics, right?
Hmm. All right. How much time do you spend on the internet?
Okay, I think a lot to be honest, because I always love to research. I do not want to be in a place where someone asks me a question and I cannot answer. So I always love to research. So I'm usually always on my laptop or on my phone, researching and checking for the latest news.
All right then.
Yeah.
What is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I don't have any to be honest, but I think the kind of movies I love to watch, right, is basically Marvel. So if Marvel releases a new um, movie, right, I love to watch Marvel. And maybe on Netflix, right, I like to watch like all this college series. So like something like Never Ever Ever, Never Have I Ever, and maybe Stranger Things too. So I love to watch all this teenage drama and romance once in a while.
Oh yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I'll say Singapore. I've always dreamt of staying in Singapore because Singapore is, I think, the only country in the world that's 100% urban. And yeah, so many rules, but I think I'll probably cope well in Singapore.
Ah
Or
yeah.
and also love to be in Japan. Japan, I've always loved Japan from their movies. I mean, from their anime, right? They always depict Japan as this um, country with so many traditions and heritage, and it feels so nice and surreal. So I would love to probably be in Japan also.
Oh yes. Japan is great.
Yeah, of course. Have you been
Yeah.
there? Have you been to Japan?
Oh no, I haven't been to Japan, but it would be nice to go there because, well, there's a lot of things to do in there.
Yeah, I know, like so many things. Listen to them play their flutes, or go to the martial arts. It's lots of things actually.
Yeah. If you had a tattoo right now, what would it be?
Maybe God is a designer, but I don't like tattoos, so I don't think I'll take a tattoo. But probably something around design, to be honest. or maybe something along the lines of, if content is king, we are Elizabeth. So I like to think of my brand as the content king. So yeah.
All right then. What is the most comfortable piece of clothing you own?
A piece of shirt and jeans. Nothing gets simpler than that.
Yes, fair enough. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you here, Gideon, talking about your works as branding and content marketing agency, your works in technology, and everything else. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. It's also nice talking to you too.
You're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.